homeschooling. Have you thought about getting your kids in the homeschool if you have kids or maybe grandkids or whatever? One life update for me is my wife and I have made the decision to go ahead and homeschool our kids. I have a 4-year-old and a 16-month-old. And so we didn't make this decision lightly, but we decided that this was going to be the best option for us just because multiple things. You have kids that aren't even, you know, well, let's start with the education system. When you learn about, like, how it came to be and all of those things, it really teaches you really how to punch a clock. And I'm not bashing that. I get it. A lot of people have to do that. I went through that system. My wife went through that system. So I'm not bashing it at all, but we got to have an honest conversation about it. And the reality of it is, it can teach you how to just be a good employee, and if you look at who funded the education system, not what we know today, but who had started, you'll see that it was basically teaching you how to be on the manufacturing floor and just to be a participant in the company. Again, if that's fine, if that's the road you want to go for your kids, it's not a bad thing. There's a lot of great things that the school systems do and stuff like that, but I don't know, with everything going on and just from a safety aspect, we just felt like it was right for us to do that. But what I wanted to talk about in particular is the support piece from your family and friends. And this I'll tie this back into investing as well, because to me, I'm seeing like a pattern now. Anytime you decide to do something that's different from the norm, you always get some type of pushback or resistance from people because they just don't understand. I had made a video about how entrepreneurship is a lonely road. And the same could be said about rearing children or any investing or any major decision that you choose to do that is so different from what everyone else does. But you get the results that you're looking for, right? As opposed to going the formulaic route. I'm not saying try to reinvent the wheel, but what I am saying is taking some chances and taking your own destiny into your own hands. Most people will invest in a 401k. Nothing wrong with that, but you do realize that a 401k is a way that your employer keeps you at the job, and also a 401k is tied to your compensation, which is why you should be taking it up to the match. Please like and subscribe if you enjoy this type of content. I make videos about investings and things of that nature, investing in particular in real estate. I don't have a fancy program to offer you. You're never going to hear that from me. Not bashing anyone who does that. I just don't do it. So anyway, but going back to homeschooling. So we made the decision to homeschool, and we're going to see how it goes. We're going to give it a year or two and just, like I said, see how it goes. And it's a big decision. It's a weighty decision. It didn't come lightly. And being honest, the bulk of this is probably going to fall on my wife because I'm the main breadwinner in our family. But that being said, we've done the research, talked to a lot of people, and it seems to be kind of the way of the future. And again, I think CNBC just did a great piece on homeschooling. I think you should go look at that if that's something you're interested in. But yeah, our systems are just broken. Their systems are just broken in every aspect if you think about it. Now, there are some things that the government does very well, but when it comes to education in particular, I don't see that they do a good job of that. Because I think it'd be ran so much more efficient. Just like I don't feel like they do a good job in housing either. The housing sector, anyone who's ever lived, I grew up in the projects. I had my family in the projects in Oakland, and I know how that lifestyle and the living was, and it conditions you to think a certain way and your outlook of the world. So I get it. But if you look at how the government structures that, they just don't do a good job. I'm not saying I'm against the programs necessarily, but I do think we need more we just need more accountability somewhere, I guess. But anytime that you make a big decision, don't expect to get support. And that doesn't feel right necessarily to say that, but it's the truth. Like, when you're doing something that's different from everyone else, you're going to stand out. So just expect that. Don't look for people to support that, I guess. Don't look for the attaboys or attagirls. Just do what you got to do for what's best for you and your family. And, let the chips fall where they may. But, you know, even when my wife and I chose to do this investing journey, we didn't get a lot of support. We actually got a lot of pushback, like, oh, what if you're going to lose your shirt? Or you're going to, like, that's an old term people say, you lose your shirt in real estate, or what if you lose it all? Or what if people always paint the downside, but they never paint the upside. Like, what if you actually become successful? And I'm not saying like be a billionaire, but I'm saying like you buy time freedom back, which is what most people are after, which is what I'm after, is my time back. I don't want to sell my life 1 hour at a time. I want to be able to enjoy life with my family, my kids, build deeper relationships, and be able to go on a deeper level with my spouse, and be able to just be there for my kids and games and soccer games, do all the corny dad stuff. I want to be there until they're irritated with me, which can happen pretty easy. But with the whole homeschooling thing, it was like the same thing popped up. And this is, again, years later after we had kids. It was like, you're talking to it because you're excited about it, right? As you should be. This is a big decision, the one that is going to change your family and your kids, hopefully for the better, for the long term. And what's funny is it was met with like, oh, really? Oh, wow. Oh, lots of questions. And again, nothing in like ill intent or anything like that, but definitely not supportive, And I guess it was harder when your parents are like educators and they come out of that system as well. It could be a shock to the system, or some cold water to the face, but or feel like cold water to the face. But I don't know. You guys let me know. It just kind of feels like every time you take a step to do something different, or maybe it looks different for you than it was for how your parents raised you, or how you move through life, and it's just a little bit different. It's often met with some resistance, and not even trying to be a contrarian in any way, just looking at the facts. The facts is like our school systems, they do a terrible job of financial literacy. That's a fact. Terrible. I didn't learn how to read a balance sheet. I didn't learn how to balance a checkbook. I didn't even know how to balance, anything. I didn't know just didn't have a fundamental understanding of money. Didn't understand investments. I didn't understand any of those things. And so you are 18 years old, you graduate, which is an accomplishment, happy for you. But then you go to sign up for hundreds of thousands of dollars of debt, and to get a degree that you can't even make a living off of. Like, people spend 6 figures to make 5. And it's like, mathematically, that just doesn't make sense. Now, I'm not saying I'm against school. Obviously, we want certain people to be educated, like our surgeons or doctors, and excuse me, wow, allergy season. We want certain people to be lawyers and things like that, to be educated. I get that. But I don't, for the vast majority of people who are going into a degree or a field or something like that, I don't feel like it's needed. I'm in property management. I didn't go to school for this. I didn't go to college. I never went to college. It's just, I struggled in high school. I was a C student at best. But I was able to learn it, and I had some fortunate people in my life to really take me over the shoulder and learn the ropes. And, so I say all that to say the point of this video is I understand not everyone can do homeschool, and that's not an option for most people, especially with this economy the way it is. And if I'm being completely honest, it's barely an option for us. We're gonna have to get creative. We're gonna figure it out. But you just run the risk, man, of your kids' safety. Constantly thinking about it. That parental paranoia. With the school shootings and things like that have happened, you're like, oh, do I want to do this or not? So that's a risk. And then just them not getting the adequate education. And I'm a big proponent in education starts in the home. Like I try to read to my son every single night before he goes to bed, because it's such a powerful thing. And I understand like the education starts in the home. I think traveling, again, if you have the ability to, and I'm not talking like world traveling, if you have the means to, by all means, but even going to a campground and learning how to fish, learning about the natural resources in your area. I remember a friend of mine took a trip to Africa, and he had told me that like the kids over there were so smart and they knew like the minerals in their, where they lived. I'm like, I couldn't tell you the minerals where we live. So things like that I think are really important and special. And we have neighbors that are in our same age group and the kids the same age, and they've talked about it they're going to do the same thing, homeschooling. So and it gives you more, we talked about it gives you more flexibility as a parent, meaning like you don't have to schedule with someone else to take a vacation, or you're always in school, and those experiences you can get. So I think homeschool is the way of the future, and I think more people are going to wake up to this and realize that this is the way to go. Again, it's a sacrifice. I'm not saying it's going to be easy. It's going to be some work, but as we know, most all things that are worth fighting for, it takes hard. It takes some work. If you want a good relationship, you got to put the work in. You want to grow a YouTube channel, you got to put the work in. You can't just look around you and see all the success happening and wonder, oh, I wish. No, you got to get in and get the bootstraps on and go to work. But anyways, I just wanted to encourage someone out there and say, look, if you're doing something different and it works for you, go for it. Don't try and quiet out the noise, and strive for excellence every day. But I'll make more videos in the future about how it's going with the homeschooling. If anyone's curious, just my life. Again, this isn't really like an investment video, but it is my life and what's going on, and it is my channel. This is my house. Yeah. So please like, subscribe, share this channel with a couple of friends. I appreciate the feedback. For all the 47 subscribers that I have, I appreciate you. Thank you so much for taking the time to listen to me and spend time with me. Thank you so much. Bye.